as well. Um, I'd like to say a very big welcome to everyone for coming around to attend our first event of the year. We really do appreciate your presence with us this evening. And also, I'd like to say officially, well, apart from our initial group greetings, a happy new year to us. And I'm really excited to see us get going on this year's agenda to be world-class designers, developers, and amazing people in the field of tech. Um, quite right, before we go down into the main agenda for the day, I'd like to um, create room for just a brief community overview for people who are just joining us for the first time, and as well as a year opening speech from the community colleague, Akim Olashupo. Akim Olashupo, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thanks so much for the opportunity, Uluwatobi. So, good evening, good morning, good afternoon from wherever you're joining us, right? About the community. So, Friend of Bigma Ilorin chapter is a community of creative designers and other creative developers and engineer inclusive who are committed to helping each other grow and also scale their careers among other shared values. So we are also devoted to sharing practices about user experiences and also product design on the most versatile design tool on Hover, right? So, and with the community, we propagate the gospel of Vigma products, and also you are here to we are hoping to have more members to join the community and also learn from designers who range from the curious to the seasoned and everything in between, right? And also network and gain more, right? And beyond that, also we are a community which is we have a community which is a friend of the my learning community on WhatsApp, and you can leverage that opportunity to grow your network and build design skills both in in-person events and also like virtual events as this one. So thank you so much. Uh, and I'm very, very happy to have you guys here today. And we have our speaker here today. I'll be leaving the stage for Luwatobi to introduce our speaker for today. Thank you.
I thank you, Akim, so much. We do really appreciate. I'm going to do a quick bio presentation of our speaker for today. In terms of the person, Isaac Chizaram. Um, just a quick bio read. Anyways, Isaac is a brand experience designer with over 5 years of professional experience in design and has a track record in brand communication, community management, and marketing designs on a global scale. Currently, he serves as a council member of the Creator Dio, visual oversight for Near Protocol Guide of the Year Human Guide. He's also he has given talks at workshops at design and open source conferences around the globe from Washington to Asia, um, also Nigeria, Singapore, Belgium, and also most notably he's just had one of his amazing talks at the Modern Front End London and
Oh
amongst
wow,
many
wow.
others.
That was a
Yeah,
very
one of
that
is
was a
exactly
very, very great
that
intro, man.
that's a deep one actually. He was one of the program members at the DrupalCon North Africa American trackboard DrupalCon Europe, and also um he leads the community at Creative Discourse and other communities empowering Africans around the world. He has contributed to Drupal, Linux Foundation, Public Health, Indian open source organization, Python, and open source design. So this is quite a deep background with respect to open source. And I'd like us to please once again appreciate our speaker for making it out today to speak to us about beginning NAS guides basically in open source design. Um, so right now, I'll be inviting Isaac. Now you have the stage. Welcome.
Oh yeah, thank you Oluwatobi for the introduction. I appreciate you so much. Happy New Year, guys. Thank you Hakim for the invite. I appreciate you. At first I was lost because this is the first time I'm actually having this call here. Is this Breevy? Is this a product of Figma? Well, if it is, it's an amazing product. Well, yeah. So let me just get started. You know, right here, you are all of us have been hearing about open source, open source, and I get like newbies reaching out to me, telling me that they're looking for places to contribute. So let us get started now. If you know anything about open source, okay, if you have heard about open source or you know what open source is, or you must have contributed to any open source organization or software, please reply with an emoji. I want to know if my audience here have insight. So just drop any random emoji or anything. Yes, any random emoji. It must not be, you know. Oh, great. Perfect. Wow, that means we are moving on the same train with very full 25-liter tank. Okay, so let us get started. Okay, so for those that don't know about open source, so I'm going to define it for you. So open source, basically, is a type of software, right, where the source codes are very much available and public, meaning that you can be in Ikorodu and you access it, you view it, you modify it, and you can also make some tweaks and distribute it to someone that is based in San Francisco, right? And what that it helps people to collaborate. So even if you are somewhere far from where you are residing, for example, now there's someone in Portugal that just started like an open source project, and you want to contribute, right? As a developer, you can make changes wherever you are. Like you can make any changes, and it will reflect. So open source. So and if you ask me, who and who can actually contribute to open source? Is you and I, like Deborah, Gift, Manuel, Habiba, Favor, all of us here can contribute to open source, no matter how little. And there's a myth out there that says that, oh, it's only developers that can contribute to open source. That's like a very big lie. Even as designers, you can contribute to open source. As a content writer, you can contribute to open source. As a community manager, you can contribute to open source, right? As a technical writer, as a digital marketer, as a content creator, anything you can actually contribute. You get to that part where you ask me how. Right now, let me just continue. So, open source softwares, basically developed by group of the people actually, have like a specific goal towards improving software. So it could be volunteers, it could be in-house designers and developers that can come together to, modify the software alongside with anyone that wants to jump in, right? So far, these rapid collaborations in open source space have led to so many great development of products out there. Like I can mention of this open source tool. Who here have used VLC Media Player? If you have used VLC Media Player, just drop an emoji out. So VLC Media Player, people are wondering how is it that VLC Media Player has there's no product out there that can beat VLC Media Player when it comes to that volume, that's 100%. Do you know why? That's because a lot of great people have come together to tweak things and make it happen. VLC Media Player is a great product because you and I came together to make it successful. And I can break it to you that it's not just VLC Media Player. There's so many products out there that we use that we don't know that they are open source, right? Yeah. So I was privileged to contribute to the iOS design documentation for VLC. All thanks to DD Codes. And I can tell you, that the amount of contributors that are working on VLC, like because they have like they have Videoland. Videoland has like VLC media player, had other breakout products. The amount of people working on this product are very enormous. They are doing it with so much passion, right? So if you're here as a designer, I can tell you for free that you can contribute to VLC media player, right? So all you just have to do is go to that GitHub, look out for look out for organizations like design organizations out there, like open source design, where they share issues, share jobs or opportunities where you can go and contribute to organizations. You can actually get paid for it. Some of them are actually free, like you actually don't get paid as a creator, but you get your recognition. That means if that product is going to be displayed, right, in San Francisco, bro, your name is going there. Your name will be wide. It will be on that billboard that Ajoke contributed to the source code, or Ajoke designed this whole thing. That's one good thing about open source. You are not being left out, right? Yeah, that's it. I don't want to take I don't say everything. I know that the organizers have questions to ask for. Like I know it's like a breakdown, organized framework. So yeah, like that's it.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Isaac. Thanks for the intro into what open source is. So I think the first question for us here would be, what are the first steps? What are those things that I need to do or that I need to put in place to contribute to open source?
Okay, so you mean like what are the things? Well, someone actually asked a question, but I think the question can be attended to later. Emmanuel. Okay, someone said, what is open source in very simple terms? Okay, let me go back to this. Open source, in a very simple term, let me just break it down in a layman term, right? So let's just say it's a software, like it's a software where the source code, all those code that you see, all those BZ, whatever, are very open and available to anybody to contribute to. So that means you now, Amnet, like Amnet, you can come and tweak like the icon sets for a particular software or product. Or Ramos from Lagos can come and change the icon or do this tweak that, change the color. Are you getting me? And before this is happen, it has to pass through a process where it will be approved. So it's just like an open place where you can come and contribute. And you can be compensated in terms of the monetary ways or recognition. Hope I broke that well for you, Annette. Okay,
All right.
so
So
I
thank you
think
so
they're
much,
asking questions. We are just
yeah. So
we go
one understand that we are asking questions. I think we might simply just have some leading questions here that could answer those questions like in the long run, right? So I think the first question I would be, how do I get started with open source? What are those things that I need to have as a designer, a developer, a contributor to open source?
Okay, perfect. So like there are so many ways for a designer or developer to get started in open source projects. And the first one I would say is, as a developer, you can contribute, by submitting bug reports. You can fix issues. You can look out for those issues on GitHub. Oh, I think I skipped the part where you need to okay. So here are the resources you need, because before you can contribute, you need to have the resources. So first of all, you need to be on a platform, GitHub, if you know about GitHub, GitHub. So GitHub is a platform, for hosting and collaborating open source projects. And it's a very home to repository of very fast open source projects. Like I can tell you back to like 2 decades, right? So if you're looking for projects to contribute, there's a tutorial that Ruzike has shared on how to find projects. When you go to the search, you can look out for design and search. It will give you like a list of all the issues pending. So it's left for you to go and choose the one that you want and then contribute. But over the years, that has actually been very difficult for the product designers and brand designers like us to contribute. So there is a community called open source design. Hakim, you can just send it right now. Yeah, I think Hakim is aware of open source design. So open source design is a community of open source designers across the globe, right? So what they do is they bring all the issues, all the jobs opportunities, all the organizations that want to like looking for designers or developers to contribute. They bring them together and then make it available for you without trying to go through GitHub, search, do those things, trying to look for pull requests. All those things that actually can give you so many hassle. So, but open source design makes it very, very easy for you. So if you can reach right now, check open source design.net. When you click on it, you see so many opportunities where exactly. You see so many opportunities where you can be able to like contribute. And I can bet you, if I didn't have anything I was doing right now, I'll be contributing to so many open source design projects because open source literally changed my life. Like contributing for Linux, contributing to VLC, contributing to Drupal, like literally changed my life. And most of us, yeah, we're driven by so many things. Might be by money, might be by passion, but I can tell you, contributing to open source might be a great way for you to build a portfolio as a designer. So you can get started with open source design.net. So another one again is up for grabs. Let me see if I can type it here. So up for grabs is like a website that lists all the free and open source projects for contributors. So all you just have to do is go there, look for someone you can pair with, and then boom, you start contributing, right?
Thank you so much, Isaac, for that eye opener. I think next question for us would be how long generally does open source contributions take? So let's say, for instance, I would like to contribute to an existing open source project. Usually, how long, and what are the commitment level for those projects on open source?
So I believe, okay, so I believe that if something is important to you, you will take it seriously, right? So about the timing, I know the question you're trying to ask is there was a timing for a project to be approved. Well, it depends on who you're working with, because for example, now if you get involved with outreach, right? If you're an intern for outreach and you are assigned with a manager, if your manager is fast-paced, obviously you know that your contributions are going to be approved like in a split sec. But I've come to understand that in open source community, like in the open source sphere or world, right, everything takes time. Like it's not like the normal fintech or normal product out there, traditional product out there that we see one thing about open source organization, they like to take their time. If they plan a conference in September, they will start from January to release call for papers. They'll put everything through that that by March 7th, they must have completed 80% of their plans that conference. That's how detailed they are. And for everything that to happen, like I said earlier, it depends like the organization you're into. But like my past experience, like contributing to like PSF, Python Software Foundation and Indian Open Source Foundation, I don't think I had like any hassle, because the founder was very active. Though he works, full time at Microsoft, he always replies to my questions. He gave me like that utmost attention. But sometimes, the whole busy schedule just set in. It's left for you to be able to understand who you are working with and know how you can be able to align your schedule with theirs. Right? Yeah. So the second question, can you just like reframe it?
Okay, so major question was how long would a particular project on open source take? So I think you answered it alongside
Oh yeah, I
your
answered it. I think that's the
yes.
first one. I think the first one is the one I'm talking about. That was the first
Yeah.
question.
Oh, okay. So what are those tools that you need as a designer developer to participate in open source? I
Okay.
had, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so like as a designer, like or a developer in open source, I think basically what you need, let us be like what you need is one, you need like your enthusiasm. Two, you need like a very good internet and a laptop. I don't know if anyone can use phone to contribute to open source. Yeah, it might be possible if you are good with that. So if you have like a very steady internet, because contributing to this project, you need to be very accessible when your PM sends you a DM, and then you have to create like a GitHub profile. It's important, right? You create like a GitHub profile, join like an active community, because at some point you get bored of GitHub, and what will help you to get access to some of these projects is when you are with like minds. So if you are with Okura for now that has been contributing to let's just say Vessel or GitHub, right? Or like one of these open source software, and he's in a community, right? Okura will likely want to tell you, almost see you, Chimeze, see, I have like this community that I am right now, and they share a lot of like open source projects for you to contribute. I can bet you when you actually get, in good loops with Okorafor and he refers you to that community, you see that you start having access to all these projects. And most of the time, they can convert from being a contribution, a volunteering gig job to being like a full-time. I know someone that actually went from like contributing, I think converted to like a full-time gig right now. So everything all depends on how well you are active with this thing. Like I mentioned earlier, you need like your laptop, a good internet, your enthusiasm. You need to be in a community of like mind. You need to have like a GitHub profile. You need to be very active. If you want, I think that's where the enthusiasm part come in, because you don't just contribute to open source because you want to benefit something. Contribute to open source because you want to develop your skill sets, build a portfolio, and meet people. In fact, that's like one of the best way to meet and grow yourself as a budding designer or developer. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Isaac, for your question, for your answers. I do have a question here, anyways. GitHub, it seems only for developers. How can designers get to make good use of this platform, even for open source contribution?
That question, please.
Oh, okay. So GitHub basically
Okay.
would highly be mentioned among developers. So
Okay.
the question was, how do designers get to make use of that platform for even for open source contributions?
Oh, perfect. Okay, so as GitHub is, the GitHub might actually look like look like source codes,
Oh,
or look like a place where
sorry,
like
Sarah. Can you hear me?
designers.
Hi, Sarah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, please. Are you joining with your laptop? I don't know if you don't mind, if you can share your screen, some people can see like you can just run through like a very basic run through for
Oh yeah,
GitHub.
I don't have a slide. I don't have a slide.
Okay.
So, but I don't mind. I can like share one of my slides from like previous events I've spoken. I can just share that because that's like something similar. After this call, I will do that.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, yeah. So going let you know 3 ways you can be able to like maximize GitHub as a designer. The first one is GitHub actually has where you can a place where they call like repository where you can be able to like tag your work, and tag whoever you're actually going to be collaborating with, right? GitHub is also a platform where you can be able to manage your design assets. So if you're working with VLC media player, they will encourage you to save their design asset on GitHub, right? It might be the images, the logos, the graphics, and it's always great to do that, because once you save it on GitHub, developers can access it. And most of the time, I think developers, if you work with like developers a lot, they always advise and encourage the designers to, upload their source files or their design files on GitHub because it's easier for them to convert it from a particular extension to their source code. You understand? And yes, you can also use GitHub to like showcase your like a level of experience and your portfolio when you're working on open source projects. So with your GitHub, someone can be able to know that this, that, and that, right? And I think I should just send you all like a guide on how to get started with GitHub. So what you just have to do is let me just get that link. I'm looking for this tutorial that Ike guy shared about how to. Okay,
All right. So
perfect.
why Isaac is trying to get us
I just got it.
those resources, could you please drop your questions in the questions part of the chat? There's a question and answer section there, so that I can filter your questions quite away from general conversations going on the general chat.
Okay, guys. I just dropped in, and but this is very, very easy for you all right now. So this link is a list of projects for beginners. So if you're a beginner, don't have an issue. So this README has all the projects, like all the open source projects you can work with. All you just have to do is click the link, and it takes you to where you can be able to contribute and collaborate. I think they're up to 30 or so. Yeah. So this is like a very great way for you all to get started in open source. So yes.
All right. So I think this is just a follow-up question to what we just had. Would designers need to learn basic code to be able to contribute to GitHub as an open source tool?
Oh man. Well, I don't think you need like. I don't think that. Okay, I'm trying to say something in a way that it doesn't contradict what I'm going to say right now, because when I was creating like my README profile, I did a lot of underscore some kind of like characters and alphanumeric symbols that help to make my things pop and become clearer. But I don't think like you need to have like that extensive experience before you can be able to use GitHub. So all I would say is I did this. So like when I wanted to create like my GitHub profile, right? I just use YouTube to search about how to put link, how to do this, how to drop GIF. So it's just basic things. And when you're watching tutorials, it's easier for you to do as a designer, right? Yeah. So if you understand sizes, like it's just basically 4px, like all these ratio sizes on Figma, you can be able to understand GitHub. And GitHub are actually made in a way that even as designers, you can use their platform without feeling overwhelmed. So as a designer, I don't think it's necessary for you to learn how to code. All you just have to do is just learn the basic things for you to get your things done and then move to the next.
Oh, great. Thank you. So I think next question would be, does publishing a project on Figma communities also count as contributing to open source?
Okay, so basically, yeah, open like I actually shared earlier. I think most of us don't understand. Open source means software where the source code is made available to the public. Right? So if you have like a project, like a design project, remember we're talking about software, open source software, source code. So if your design is very open in a way any person can actually access it, it's not open source because there's no code like backing it. Are you getting me? It's a resource because anyone can actually access any resource. So just imagine if you can access resources on one Google Doc that is shared open, that is made open. That doesn't make the Google Doc file open source. That doesn't make the inside the Google Doc file open source, right? It's only codes, software that are built with codes that are made available for anyone to contribute. and modify that can be regarded as open source. Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you, Isaac. So I think next question, can a brand designer or community manager contribute to open source? If yes, how?
Perfect. Like, as a brand designer, you can contribute to open source. I think that's like one of the best things, like, for me to do. I like working on logos, icons, colors, creating some illustrations and all that. So as a brand designer, you can do that. But let me give you a tip, right? Well, just imagine, okay, I'm trying to remember an open source software. Okay, DuckDuckGo, is looking for open source designers to, refresh their brand identity. So you as a brand designer, you are coming to create like a new style guide, fresh style guide, create like a refresh set of icons, doing all those things and approved, right? You have contributed to open source as a brand designer. So that's like a thumbs up for you. So as a community manager, this is how you can contribute to open source. So you can look out for most of all these open source organizations, and I think that's what they lack. They lack this awareness because they're always sitting that they are too code intensive, too product intensive, right? So as a community manager, I can just look out or just join one of these open source organizations and like, okay, see, I'm a community manager. I have so much time on my hand. I love the mission of your product, of your software. I want to be part of it. I want to volunteer as a community manager. So you're talking about the software out there, creating awareness for it, and it's getting traction and milestones. Is you to that software as a community manager. Contribute to open source. As far as there's any level of impact, you have done it right. It's not open for developers, right? I think it's just of recent that designers started contributing to open source, because before I started contributing to open source, I was skeptical about it. I was thinking GitHub is not code where they write code and all those things. So that scared me away until I got the whole thing and learned that, okay, see, even as a non-technical person, even as a designer, I can contribute to open source. So the question correctly. I'm pleased if I hear, please. I see, I want you to embrace this link. And let me scroll up a bit. You see this open source design.net. See, sleep there, right? Sleep there, because I think right now, like most of all these open source organizations right now are funding are funding. So most projects you see out there. So if you check out this open source design.net, you see gratis. Gratis is to pay you, but they're going to give you all the recognition that you need. So that means if this software is scaling to, even if it's going to anywhere in the world, your name will be there. Oluwatobi will be there as a core contributor. You see? So they'll give you your credits when it's due. Like dollar emoji, right? It means that, oh, see this project, you are going to be paid for it. You'll be given your credit and you also be paid. I think there's any open source project that does NDA now. I have not seen. So that's just it.
All right, thank you so much, Zara. I would also like to see if there are any questions from our attendees. If you have questions, please just drop them in the Q&A section so that we can actually get them to Isaac for an answer. Okay, so I think there was a question earlier. If there are hundreds, if not thousands of contributors, how can you highlight what you did? Isaac?
Okay, please, can you like recap?
All right, so was it if there are hundreds or if not thousands of contributors, like basically on a particular project, right?
Okay.
How can you highlight your contributions to that open source project?
Okay. So like whether there are like 1 million like, contributors to a software doesn't mean anything. At first, you have a task that has been assigned to you on GitHub or any platform. It could be like on ClickUp or GitHub or any open source tooling platform that you are working with, like actually collaborating with the organization. At first, you are assigned that task. Whether there are 1 million others working on it, it shouldn't be your business. But know for sure, even if there are 1 million like contributors also working on that same project, you will get your well-deserved credits and compensation if needs be. So the amount of people working on the project will not the highlight your efforts at all. At all, it doesn't do that. And yeah, I just remember something again. Someone asked me, I don't know if it's you or Hakim, about okay, if Figma a community projects are very open, can they be regarded as open source software? Okay, and I said no. Okay, here's the conclusion. This is why I said no. So I've come to realize that before you can be able to have like an open source project, you need a license for it. You get to be so you need a license, and there are only 3 licenses that exist. 3 licenses that exist, right? So the first one is the MIT license. The MIT license. Second one is the GNU General Public License. This one is the one that anyone can just do. You can get it from GitHub, right? Then the third one is the Apache license. So are you going to get a license for your Figma, community file? That's not possible. So hope I answer your question. Like I actually said earlier, before you can be able to like have an open source project, you need to have a license. That's if you're looking to scale beyond a local level, right? If you're targeting like global level, you need a license. Like there's this design tool. I don't know if I'm meant to show it here because this is Figma. There's this open source design tool, Penpot. It has like a license, I think from MIT. So just imagine if the Penpot doesn't have a license. That means that all the effort will be in vain and all that. So yeah.
All right. So just for clarity, right, it would be great to point out that before you contribute to any project, be sure there is an open source license awarded to the project. Then at that point, it could be regarded as an open source project, and not
Exactly.
just contribution. Yeah.
Because most people actually create open source project without proper license, and then like put it up on it and say I'm looking for contributors, and you will just come because you want to contribute to open source so bad, and then you come put in your time, and end of the day you just find out that okay, this project is not open source, is a VC funded or a normal like product led software. You'll be you'll be shocked because it has happened. So most people do, they just come up with a concept. Hey, look at want to start a project open source. And then you come, you drop your idea, you drop your effort, design icon, design this, design that. Then all of a sudden, they will close the whole issue, disappear, and then you see the product like it was open source being product led, right? So yeah, that's the thing. Thank you so much for mentioning that. I'm so glad that you took notes.
All right. So I think I have just 3 more questions, and then we can look at others. As a UX designer, how do I contribute to open source? I think we had a previous conversation around how designers can contribute to open source projects. I think next question would be, do we need a portfolio to apply for open source projects? Do you need a portfolio?
Well, it all depends, Okay, you can actually know if a project is licensed on GitHub, right? They always put it there somewhere you will see it, right? That's for Ogechukwu. So let me come back to your question, Oluwatobi. You don't need a portfolio, actually, right? You don't need a portfolio unless you're contributing to like a very because there's some open source projects out there that they scrutinize it like a job offer, like they scrutinize it like as if they are paying you, but it's obviously free. Do you know why? Because their products is globally recognized, and we don't want any shabby contribution or any like insignificant, like contribution, right? So, but you don't need any portfolio at all to contribute to open source. As far as you acknowledge that, okay, see, I can be able to do this, I can do that, you are good to go. But I've not been in a situation where they ask me for my portfolio. I don't know if you do that right now, but I can tell you that there are some open source projects that are very, very big. Like just imagine if there's an open source project that is coming right straight from MIT. That's like, it's very, very big, and they are having like backends, like fundings from all these open source organizations, and they need everything to be very good, right? The contributions, the code, the design. So you won't come with your 2 Figma screen, like landing page, you come and contribute to, it won't be possible. They will bounce you back even when you're doing it for free. I've seen people. If you check Twitter, I think I saw someone actually made a tweet that he wanted to like contribute to an open source project. They had to interview her, and after the whole process, she was sent a rejection mail for free. Like just imagine that kind of situation. So yeah, but in most open source projects, you don't need any portfolio, man. Just go and shoot your shot. Some of the time you will land it.
Oh, great. Thank you for the clear answer, Isaac. So I think most of the questions that have come in is how can you tell if a project is licensed, especially even on open source websites? Are there specific check or marks or places to look to confirm whether the project is licensed? Is there, so I think an extension of the question would be, is there a website, is there a code attached to open source licensing that you can use as confirmation for their license?
Okay. About the license thing, like I made mention of the license, right? I said the first one is the MIT license. The second one is the Apache, and then you have like the GNU General Public License. This is like one that anyone can actually have access to. Okay, so about how you can be able to know if an open source project is licensed. Like I made mention earlier, there is what we call GitHub. And every GitHub has like a repository, like every project has like a repository and a root directory. You understand? So when you actually go through the README file on that, like, I think that's like the last part of it. Like when you scroll down, you can be able to know if this open source project is the main project that is licensed. Well, most what they do is you just go and copy. Though it is allowed on GitHub, you can just take some codes or source files, right? But if you check out a well-licensed open source project, you can be able to see all the licensing terms underneath the README files. So you all know what README is like. The first thing that you see when you open like a open source project, it contains the name, it contains the bio, what the project is all about, who are working on it, the maintainers, the founder, the contributions, and all that. So if you check that README, I don't see any license. It shows MIT, Apache, or GNU. It's not licensed. So yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you, Isaac. I think we'll just be taking a few more questions, and then one question that we have here is if you're working on a paid open source project, what happens when you are assigned a task and do not fulfill it?
Man, this question. If you're working on a project and you can't fulfill the task, Are you going to be paid? You will not be paid. You'll be going home with a supper cleared eye. You know, you will either be bounced off your Slack. You will not be paid, okay? You will not be paid. So you cannot come and okay, because it's open source. You think the founder will just something will touch him in his right chest and be like, Amaka needs money, just send her money, even though she did not complete her project. I don't think it's going to happen. Okay, you will not be paid. But if you try and put in more effort to get your project completed, right, you'll be compensated fairly, you know. Or if there's any way, if you're having like any issue that's disrupting you from being able to complete it, see, let me tell you something. Open source folks are one of the most patient people to ever work with. They will understand. They will be like, okay, if you tell them that, see, as I was walking across the road, a toothpick just fell from the sky and just choked my throat. Because of that, I cannot be able to show up for meeting. They will understand, right? They will understand. They will leave. In fact, they will give you like a 2 weeks break. Go and enjoy yourself. So that's why it's always important to communicate. Communicate. So you can't just walk up one day, you know, without any good excuse. You just wanted to pay you for not doing anything. And you know what happened, right? You know what happened. So that's like a very big no for me and whoever that you'll be working with.
Right, thank you so much, Isaac. I'd like to know if there are any more questions from us. I think I can take one last question and then we can wrap it up. All right, so it seems as though okay, yeah, we do have one question. Do you know about outreachly.org?
I do. Of course, I do. Atrishi actually served me breakfast like almost 3 times. So Outreach is basically is a program that provides like a paid remote internship, and it happens for 3 months. So wherever you are, whether you're inside bush, whether you're under the rock, whether in Nasarawa, US, Kaduna, wherever globally, right? You will have access to this internship. That's if you make it past the processing, right? Their stages, because there are stages where they be able to like accommodate you or pull you out, right? So and this internship is applicable for people that are 18 years upward. So if you're 18 years upward, I think you should consider applying for an Atuchi internship program because it gives you $7,000 after 3 months, right? Yes, 7,000 cool dollars after 3 months, and it's very very open for people of color, trans men, transgender, people that have disability, people that are disadvantaged or underrepresented. You can come in and contribute to Atuchi, but it's not like random open source project where you can just come. So all it will let you do is you come in, you apply. If you make past the process, they'll 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 actually plug you with some products, right? So when you actually work on your task and you do it well, those particular products will be able to like sign you on, and then you can start working with them for 3 months. But if you don't make it past that stage, you can send like a rejection mail. All you just have to do is reapply, right? Okay, so about what I meant by serving me breakfast was I applied for 2 times and I was rejected. It's not that easy because thousands of people across Africa, not just Africa, all over the world are aiming for just imagine where you are contributing to a project of $7,000 after 3 months. It's cool cash, right? So thousands of people will be on it too, and the competition will be high, right? And maybe I was unlucky not to be accepted. Okay, so someone Oladimeji asked the question: how do you scale from doing open source to getting paid? I don't know if this is the last question, Oluwatobi, but I'll just take it. So it's just basically, okay, I'm going to use myself as an example. So in 2020, I came across Jopal. I attended Oscar Fest. I met one of the program directors, Rachel Northlock. She brought me on board. I started doing like program management for the open source community. And then at some point, I did well. I was promoted. And I was promoted. I was not being paid, but I was promoted in terms of the quality of work I was doing, the activeness, the enthusiasm, right? So at some point, the person I was working with Dries, I was working with Hannah. Hannah had a friend that was working in one project like that, and that was how I got like my first contract gig. So because I was working with Hannah, right, it was very easier to get uh, someone to advocate for me for a particular gig. So it's more of you leveraging on the access of network that you have to get where you want to get to. So because I work with Hannah referred me entirely to a project, and I met like I never have any call with like the founder. That was how I got like the contract gig just ASAP because she vetted for me. She have worked with me in the past. She knows what I can do. And this is how open source can actually change your life because when you start contributing, you don't know who you are meeting, you don't know who are your core contributors. Like one guy that is working with Microsoft, Google, and then in future, you know, you can be able to have like an opportunity to work with him on a particular project that will make you get blown up or fetch you some cool cash or actually, land you some referrals to on a bigger pay or whatever, right? So it's all about you leveraging on your networks while contributing. And then another thing again is by working on open source projects, you get to build your portfolio. Like you build your portfolio bank in the sense that if you are looking out for opportunities that are within open source or outside open source, your employer will want to hire you because you have like great quality of work. So that's how you can scale from doing open source to getting paid gigs, right? You have access to the networks, you have access to information, you have access to building your like, portfolio, right? That will likely land you opportunities in the future. So I think that's just it. Yeah, of course, Emmanuel, Atuchi are no longer upset. I think we'll be accepting by April or so. So like, and that's it.
All right, thank you so much, Isaac. I think that that's major questions for us today. And I think there was a last question from I know, which we'll take, and then we can get that. It says, is there a process or requirement to apply to Outreachly? I think it's clearly there on their requirements, on their internship requirements, on how to apply and the process of applications. I don't know if Isaac wants to touch on that. And
Okay, okay, it's very simple. Like you may actually mention, if you go to their website, outreach.org, it will give you access to all the information, right? Because I don't work with them, right? I don't work with them. Yes, outreach.org, exactly. So it will give you, but like all I know is that they will start their second application, like the yearly application from February. If you are lucky enough, you fit in an application, and when you get past the first stage, they will pair with a product or an open source project. When you contribute and you do so well, and the contributors, people that are in charge of the open source projects, refer you or review you as one of like the top contributors for that task, you become an intern. And for 3 months, you'll be doing cool things. Maybe I'm not cool thing about this outreach is that you can be able to work with an international organization. Just imagine working with like Mozilla, soft, that kind of thing. And for 3 months, you are being paid $7,000 and you have access. Like there's a 90% chance that it might convert from internship to like a full-time role. I've seen people do that. I've seen people move from interns to working at the company full-time. So it's left for you. It's left on how much effort you put during your application. That will determine that. So, but I don't work with them. Atuchi is not paying me for this free adverts. All you just have to do is go to atuchi.org and you fetch more information for yourself. Yeah, that's it.
thank you so much, Isaac. And with this, would we have come to the end of today's section speaking about contributing to open source beginner's guide. Thank you so much. Would say a very big thank you. Can I please have with emojis and with text in our comment section to say a very big thank you to Isaac for sharing quite an amazing wealth of knowledge with respect to open source contribution and how to get started as a beginner. Um, I think with this, I'll leave Akim with some closing words for us as we come to the end of this section.
Yeah, thank you so much, Luwatobi, and thank you so much, Zara. This is a very very great presentation, right? So my own right, and as an additional words, right? Please let all take every knowledge shared here today, right? Very, very serious, right? If you want to get started as an open source designer, it's very, very easy just to get started, right? The sources Sarah shared will be of a very, very great help. And also, should you need any questions further, right? Sarah will be available on his Twitter handle, right? You can follow Sarah on his Twitter handle, right? And yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Really, really appreciate your time. All right. So yeah,
Thank you so much, Hakim. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate you and well, honestly, Hakim should know now. Like, I was affected by recent layoff, and I've been trying to prepare for interviews, apply to jobs, and I told myself that I was not going to like speak. I turned down like so many events,
yeah,
honestly. But I
yeah,
had to like do this one with you. But I appreciate the invite. I appreciate that you loved my talk, right? And hopefully in the future I'll be able to come over here to in person to Figma Ilorin to
yeah, exactly. We'll
speak.
really be
Yeah,
looking forward to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Isaac. And with this, we've come to the end of our sections for today. Any subsequent section that we'll be having with respect to Friends of Figma in Loring would be communicated to us. And I'd say enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone, and have a great day.
Yeah, this session was recorded, right? We upload the recording session on our YouTube channel. Please do well to subscribe and follow us on our social platforms. Thank you.